lesson, let's do a recap on the class of last week. Food safety, part 1, hygiene and attire. Now last week we learned about hand washing, how to apply rubber gloves, and what to wear and what not to wear when you're working in the kitchen. Now, washing hands is important because, because the germs you get from touching everyday objects are in your hands. And when working in the kitchen, you always have to wash your hands first before doing any cooking job. And to prevent germs from touching food. Here's a quick recap. First, turn on the faucet. Wet your hands. Apply soap. Lather, like so. And then drying them with a paper towel. Another thing we learned last week is how to apply rubber gloves and its use. Rubber gloves are single use only and only used for one kitchen job. So you put the glove in your hand, and then using your index finger and thumb, you grab it from the bottom and take it out like this. Lastly, kitchen attire. What to wear and what not to wear when you're in the kitchen. These include what to wear include clean clothes, aprons, non-slip shoes, and hairnets. What not to wear in the kitchen includes jewelry, watches, revealing clothes, and makeup. Because those items contain germs, and if it touch the food, it can make a person very, very ill. It's time for food safety part 2, meat temperature and washing vegetables. These steps are important when you're in the kitchen. It not only takes your body from germs, will prepare each property for each meal.
Are you okay?
Let's start with meat temperature. Now back to the lesson. Meat temperature. When it comes to cooking meat, it is important to make sure that the meat is fully cooked inside and out. This is crucial to being a chef because it keeps you and others from getting foodborne illnesses such as Salmonella, E. coli, and who knows what else. So in this part of the lesson, you will learn the correct internal temperatures for each type of meat, what tools to use to tell the internal temperatures of the meat, and how to prevent foodborne illnesses. Different temps for each meat. Like many things in life, meat comes in many different varieties, each with its own eternal temperatures to be cooked at. On the right is a meat temperature guide that shows each type of meat in its own cooking temperatures. It is crucial to know which type of meat should be cooked at. Now, if you look at the guide right here, you can see all the types of meat, and no, not yet dinner. All the types of meat in each different cooking temperatures. Like poultry, for example, you got the white meat, dark meat, and the brown. When you're cooking white meat poultry should be cooked at its eternal temperature should be at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Dark meat and brown poultry, 165. Next meat to look at, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, pork. You got your white meat, dark meat, and brown. Cooking white meat pork, it should be cooked at 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Pork, each at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for the beef. You got all kinds of beef in this area. Rare beef, medium rare, medium in general, medium well done, and ground beef. Now you have to turn the page. Put the page down. Genera. Alright. If you're cooking rare beef, it should be cooked at its eternal temperature should be 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's not recommended. You'll see why. Medium rare, 130. Medium, 140. Medium well, 150. Medium well done beef, 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Ground beef, 160. Next is the lamb. Medium rare, medium well done, and ground lamb. For medium rare lamb, it should be cooked at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Medium, 130. Medium well, 145. Well done, 150. And ground lamb, 160. Lastly, the seafood. And this part's a little complex. If you're cooking fish with fins, its eternal temperature should be cooked at 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for crustaceans such as shrimp, lobsters, crab, and scallops, it should be cooked until the flesh is white and a paku or something. Now for shellfish like clams, oysters, and mussels, you cook them until the shells are open. Seafood is very complex. Now if you look at the first three areas of cooking temperatures of beef, and the first two temperatures of lamb, and each is under 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooking them in those temperatures is not recommended. As you can see in the next page, there's a cooking temperature you should be aware of when you're cooking meat, and that's the danger zone. See this? This is the danger zone. There's a temperature between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And that should be avoided. When cooking or storing meat, or anything for that matter, you must make sure that their temperatures are not in that zone. The reason why is because any food in that zone is a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. If any cooked food in that zone for more than an hour is in that zone for more than an hour or two, you must dispose of it immediately. Now, if you want to make sure you want to keep track of the meat's temperature, you must use a meat thermometer. This is a meat thermometer, a tool used to check the meat's internal temperature. To use this, you'll need to first calibrate it with cool running water. Then you stick the needle, this part, to the middle of the meat. Once you get the reading, you take it out carefully, wash it with soap and water, and store it in its correct place. When you're using a meat thermometer though, be careful with the needle. That thing is sharp. Believe me. Of course, there's many types of meat thermometers. This one right here is just one of them. Okay, for the next part of food safety, we have vegetable washing. This is a good technique to use. This is a good thing to do when you're making a salad or soup, or preparing sandwich fillings. When you're preparing those, you'll need to wash the vegetables first. Washing the vegetables is important because the dirt, chemicals, and tiny pests could still be in the vegetables that come from farm to grocery store. However, each vegetable does not get cleaned the same way. So for this part of the lesson, we're going to learn different types of cleaning methods for each vegetable. Information provided by Gemini. Next page. First thing is leafy greens, such as lettuce, spinach, arugula, cabbage, and others. First thing is to separate the leaves. Separate the leaves from good to bad. You can tell which leaves are bad from the brown spots and the damp lumps. After separating the leaves, soak them in a bowl of cool water. After that, use a strainer to pour out the water. The strainer is a kitchen tool that is like a bowl full of holes. Used for straining purposes, such as vegetables or noodles. Next, fruit vegetables. Those are carrots, potatoes, onions, yams, and ginger. Now this part takes a lot of elbow grease. Because you have to scrub the root vegetables using a vegetable brush under running water. Because the dirt is still on the root vegetables, it needs to be cleaned. You don't want dirt on our salad and soup. Turn the page. Next are the vegetables. Next are vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower. This one's a bit tricky because broccoli and cauliflowers are very delicate. So this part, you need to break each one into 4 rinse the florets under running water, but keep an eye out for crevices. They like those dark spots. They like dark spots. Remember that. Next, mushrooms. And I'm not talking about the Super Mario mushrooms or toxic mushrooms. I mean the mushrooms you buy at your store. Now for this part, now if you want to clean mushrooms, you'll always use a damp cloth or a soft brush to wipe the dirt off. But be careful now, mushrooms are very fragile. Scrub too hard, they break my cottage cheese. Squash vegetables. These are vegetables with seeds in them, mostly distinct from fruit. These squash vegetables are yellow squash, zucchinis, cucumbers, pumpkins, and others. For this part, you don't need to place the squash vegetables under running water and scrub them with a silicone brush. Using a silicone brush will gently scrub all the dirt off the root vegetables and the squash vegetables. Prevent any undesirables from getting into your meals. Lastly, tomatoes. This part's simple because you rinse the tomatoes under cool running water and gently rub them with your hands. It's important because tomatoes can get squished very easily.
His medication for the pain. So he insisted that he wants to go home. So I think that
yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. And we're having. So that's the end of the lesson. Now you know about meat temperature and vegetable washing.